Pink Magnolia Wreaths, here to do another tutorial video with y'all. And if you want to find my shop on Etsy, it's at pinkmagnoliawreaths.etsy.com. If you want to shoot me an email, you can do that at pinkmagnoliawreaths@yahoo.com. Do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell so you can keep up with all of our videos. So today we're going to be making some bows, and although a lot of people struggle with bows, they can be really hard to make, but we're going to do some things that are easy and that everyone can do. So I'm starting off with a basic ribbon here. It's just kind of plain. You can use whatever ribbon you want. This is 2.5 inch. I always use wired ribbon when making bows because it holds its shape and is just a lot easier to work with. So you can do a really long ribbon like what I've got, or you can do a shorter piece. And now we're going to start shaping our bow. So to do a basic bow, we're going to make one that looks kind of like this. What we're going to do is take the ends of your ribbon and crisscross them until you have a bow shape. So as you can see, I've got 2 loops and 2 tails. So now, they may not be perfectly even, and that's okay. We're going to scrunch it up, and we're going to put a pipe cleaner in the middle. So, got the pipe cleaner, and I'm just going to pinch it together and twist the whole bow 3 times. You can do it 2 times or 4 times, just as long as you've got it pinched together good. So then we're going to look at our bow and see if we think our loops are the same size. And I think they're pretty much the same size. And then let's see if our tails are about the same size. Let's see. I think this one's a little bit longer, so let's go ahead and trim it. You will need some scissors and pipe cleaners as well as ribbon. Okay, and then I like to dovetail my ends, which means we're going to cut them to have kind of a point. So what you're going to do is take your ribbon, fold it in half, the edges right here, and then the folded seam is going to be right here. You're going to draw an imaginary line and cut, and then it has this pretty triangle shape. And then we're going to do it on this side as well. And you can see this one's cut kind of diagonal already, so I'm just going to even that out and then do the same thing. Okay, so I'm flipping it over to the front. And we have a pretty simple, basic bow, but I want to make it look just a little bit nicer so we're not seeing this pipe cleaner in the front, because I don't think that looks super pretty. So what we're going to do is take some more of the same ribbon, and I'm going to measure out, just estimating how much it would take to go all the way around that pipe cleaner, and give yourself a little bit extra if you want. So this looks like it's about maybe 4 inches. So I'm going to cut this off. Okay, I'm going to scooch my extras out of the way. I'm going to just roll it up. Now, you can see how that's going to cover the pipe cleaner. So we're going to flip the bow to the back. And then we're going to spread out our pipe cleaner. So we've got one end on one side and one end on the other. And we're going to tuck this middle piece of ribbon into the pipe cleaner. Okay, you can see I have a lot of excess. I cut out a lot extra. But then we're going to crisscross our pipe cleaner and twist it a couple times so that's in there really tight. If you would feel more comfortable, you can use hot glue to secure it if you don't want to secure it with a pipe cleaner, or you can do both. Now we're going to cut off all the excess so that's not showing through on the front. And you can see I left a tiny little bit sticking out past the pipe cleaner so the pipe cleaner has something to hold on to. If you cut it too short, the pipe cleaner can't hold it and it's just going to come all undone. So here is our finished bow. You just fluff your loops and kind of straighten out your tails, and there you go. Very simple, basic bow that anybody can do. And now it's ready to attach to a wreath or a lantern or a gift or anywhere you are wanting to put your bow. That's bow number 1. Okay, so bow number 2 that we're gonna make today, you will need both 2.5-inch ribbon and 1.5-inch ribbon. And you will need, let me count how many strips of this I've got out here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll need 8. And you can use 2 different ribbons, you can use 4 different ribbons, you can use as many different colors and ribbons as you want. I'm using Valentine's Day ribbons because right now it is February. So I've got 2 strips of 2.5 ribbon that is about 24 inches long of this heart print, and the same of this plain ribbon we just used. Okay, so now we're going to move on to a bow that's a little bit more complicated, but I know you can do it. So we're going to need at least 4 strips of 2.5-inch ribbon. And I've got 2 different prints. If you want to use just one 2.5-inch ribbon cut into 4 strips, that's fine. If you want to use 4, that's fine too. And then I'm doing the same thing with 1.5-inch ribbon. I have 2 strips that are this burlap and sparkly heart, and then 2 strips that are this truck and heart. And I measured them out. They're all about the same length. They're all about 24 inches. If they're not exact, that's okay. And I'm going to use my bow maker just because it's so much easier. If you don't have a bow maker, you can use your hands or craft clamps or your friend or spouse or whoever's in the house with you to hold it as well. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to take this ribbon, a 2.5-inch, let me scooch some of this out of the way. And what we're going to do is we're just going to fold it in half. Okay, folded it in half. Now, come about halfway down with your finger, gather it together, and you're going to twist it. So can you see my little twist right there, that half twist? Okay, so now we're going to put the loop on one side and the tails on the other. We want to make sure they're about the same length, and that looks about right. This is almost 6 inches, and that's almost 6 inches. So now I'm going to move on and do another one of my 2.5-inch ribbons. So this is this heart one. And you may be able to see the twist better on this one since it's got a pattern on one side. I'm going to fold it in half. And I have already dovetailed some of these ribbons. If I haven't dovetailed some of them, we'll go over that again at the end, but I think y'all know how to do that. So I've got it folded in half. Come halfway down, gather it up, give it a twist. So this way, you got one side that looks like a loop with a twist, and your other side is going to be a loop with 2 tails that are facing the same way. So you want the print of your tails to both be on the same side. So one side looks like this, other side looks like this. And since we put a loop on this side, we're going to do the loop on the other side. And I like to kind of go ahead and spread it out as I go. So I do one loop up, one loop down, and then you just spread your tails out. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same one and keep those heart ribbons together. So I've got that ribbon folded in half, gather it up, and give it that twist. So both tails are facing the same direction. Okay, I'm going to do this loop up and spread my tails. And then we'll do the second piece of this plain ribbon. It's kind of plain, it's got a pretty sparkly gold edge to it. It's actually a Christmas ribbon, but I think it works for Valentine's Day. I think that's one of the good things about leftover Christmas supplies is just reuse them and work them into Valentine's if you can. All right, so this, scrunch it, twist it, just the same thing we've been doing. We put the loop on this side, so we're going to alternate and flip it. And so I try to alternate my loops. One loop is at the top on one side. I try to even them out and have my loops alternating so not all the loops are on one side. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our 1.5 inch ribbon. I'm going to start with the trucks. So, got my truck ribbon, fold it in half, come halfway down, twist it, the exact same thing we've been doing with the other ribbons, alternating sides with the loops and spreading out the tails. Now I'm going to swap to the sparkle heart. Keep on doing the same thing. I'm going to do another sparkle heart ribbon. And here's my last ribbon. It's going to be the truck. So now that we've got all our ribbons on, and you can see they're like in this great big pile here, we're going to get a pipe cleaner. If you would rather use floral wire, you can do that. That's fine. I just find pipe cleaners to be a little bit easier to work with. And if you're going to be making a lot of bows or a lot of crafts, you want to be easy on your hands, and this is easier on my hands than floral wire. So now we're going to gather everything up. Make sure you don't drop it. Scoop my bow maker out of the way. Gonna kind of center my pipe cleaner on top of the bow. Flip it upside down. Pull the pipe cleaner in straight up, crisscross. Try to push your bow forwards and then twist the whole bow 2 or 3 times to make it secure. And you can see by pushing it forward, it makes your bow already poofier and more pretty. Okay, so this kind of looks like a mess, but we're going to straighten it out. So start fluffing. You can start at the bottom or the top, however you like. And you're just going to kind of start making sure that everything can be seen and that you've got loops on the top and the bottom of the bow. Just spreading it all out. Don't overthink it. And if you get done fluffing and you decide you don't like how it looks, you can always keep moving stuff around. Okay, so to fluff the loops, I usually put like 3 fingers or 4 fingers in there and just spread it out. Okay. And if you got some tails that you think look too long, just trim them up. I am fairly happy with this. I think I missed a couple of dovetails, so I'm going to go back and fix these. There's one. Oh, here's the other one. Now this bow would look really pretty on a decorative lantern. It would also look really good on a wreath or on a swag. You might could even do it on your mailbox if you think your ribbon will hold up to that. Okay, I feel like some of these truck tails are just long, so I'm just going to trim them just a little bit. And it's just personal preference. It's not any right or wrong. Okay, and I think I'm pretty well happy with that. It is a very pretty Valentine bow. Leave any questions or comments for me in the box below and tell me what you think of this bow. We'll move on to the third one. Okay, so last bow I'm going to show you how to make today is a really pretty fluffy bow that is still easy. Okay, so I'm going to take this 2.5 inch ribbon. It's got red trucks and hearts on it, and it's pink plaid. Y'all can tell I love the truck trend and love doing ribbons with the red truck. And I love this one because pink is my favorite color. All right, so I'm going to take this ribbon and put it face down in my bow maker. I have the Easy Bow Maker. There's lots of kinds out there, but this is the kind I have. And so I'm gonna make my loops, we'll say 7 inches for this one. So I'm gonna put my finger on the 7, work the ribbon back in between the poles. I'm gonna scooch it so I've only got just a little bit hanging out here, and make sure my loop goes all the way to the 7, but not past it. And then I'm gonna come on this side. You can see my ribbon is not cut off the roll yet. Or maybe you can't. There you go. And so I'm gonna put my finger on this 7 and bring it back through. So now I'm gonna twist it in between the poles so that this ribbon is now facing down. So it's face down right now. This side is face up, this side is down. So we're gonna bring this back across, making sure that our ribbon goes to the 7 and comes back. This is gonna be 3 loops of this ribbon, okay? And I do not care if my trucks are upside down or my picture is upside down. If it bothers you, we'll just give it an extra twist at the end and I'll show you how to turn it right side up. Okay, so now we're doing a ribbon face down again to the 7. I'm coming back. And then we're twisting. And making one last loop that's 7 inches on this side, and then we'll do one more on the other side. So that makes 3 inches on my right. I mean 3 loops on my right. And 3 loops on the left. I'm gonna cut my ribbon just a little bit past these poles. And we're gonna set this to the side. Now I'm gonna move to my next ribbon, which is a 1.5 inch. If you wanna do another 2.5 inch ribbon, that's fine. This is some ribbon that has got a little sheen to it. It's very pretty. Since I ended with the left side, I'm gonna start on the right side. This ribbon, we're gonna do 2 loops on each side. So 3, now 2. And these loops, we're gonna do them at 6 inches, so they're not quite as long. So we're gonna scooch this out of the way. It's not gonna hurt it or mess anything up for you to wiggle it around a little bit. Find the 6. Now we're gonna twist it in the middle, like we've been doing. So see, it's face down right now. This is face up. We're just seeing more glitter. And then, see, that's to the 6. Okay, so make sure this one's still to the 6. Yep, okay. So that's one set of loops. Now we're gonna do the second set. And some people leave their ribbon on this little pole the whole time, but I like to move mine around. I think it's easier. And sometimes this pole comes out. So that's another 6 inch loop. Twist it. Second 6 inch loop on that side. We're just gonna cut it right here beside the poles. Okay. All right, last ribbon we're gonna do is this cute envelope love letter ribbon. And you can see we ended with this loop on this left side, so we're gonna start doing loops on this side. We are just gonna do 1 loop of this ribbon on each side. So it's 3, 2, 1. These loops we're gonna do at 5 inches. So 7, 6, and now 5. Putting it between the poles. This finger's on the 5. Make sure our loop is at 5, and I pull it pretty tight. Twist it in between the poles. So now the ribbon is face down. See here, find the 5, pull it tight, and then we're going to cut it next to the poles. Get you a pipe cleaner. A lot of times I use white. You can use pink or red or whatever color you want. It's not going to end up showing at the end. So I have them all squeezed together really tight. Center my pipe cleaner across the top. Pull it back. Crisscross it. Push the loops forward and twist. If you can't manage to push your loops forward while you're twisting, just don't stress about it and just twist it without pushing them forward. It'll still look pretty. Okay, so now we're going to fluff our loops out. I start with the bottom layer. You can start with the top if you want. Just making sure the ribbon doesn't look twisted, making sure the loops look big and full. And again, this is wired ribbon because wired ribbon holds its shape. If you use a ribbon without wire, it's not going to stay hoofed up. Okay, so I'm going to cut some of this extra that I've got in the middle here, as you can see, poking out past the pipe cleaner. And I'm going to flip the bow over, and we're going to make some tails for this bow. So this bow is pretty big, so I'm going to want some pretty long tails. So I'm going to do 17. I want it to be about 17 inches on both sides, so I just measure out 17 and flip it over, so that way I've got it twice the size of 17, and then cut. And then I'll do something similar with my other two ribbons that I'm using, but I want them each to be a hair shorter than the last. Sort of like our loops, each loop is shorter. We want each of these ribbons to be shorter. So I'll cut this one about 2 or 3 inches shorter than the first one. And then the same with the pink. I'll cut this in straight because it's wonky. And then get the red. And just cut this a couple inches shorter than that one. Okay, so now we're going to gather up our 3 ribbons that we're using for our tails. Place them one on top of the other, kind of try to center them together. Doesn't have to be perfect. We'll figure it out at the end. So scrunch them all together and fold it in half like this. It's facing down because our bow is going to be facing down. We're going to put it inside the pipe cleaner. Crisscross the pipe cleaner, pull it tight, twist it twice. Okay, flip your bow over. We may have to refluff our loops a little bit. That is okay. So now you can see we have these long, pretty tails. So let's see if we can make them about the same length. So this one is not even, so let's just even them up. We'll flip it back my way so it's a little easier. Okay, I think I'm pretty pleased with how the length, so I'm just going to dovetail them. Now this is a big fluffy bow. It is good for wreaths, it's good for door hangers. A lot of people hang them on their windows outside during Christmas time, or, well, this is Valentine's ribbon, but you can use any kind of ribbon you want. Now, we are almost done. I know that's a lot of steps, but we are just almost done. Okay, So I've got my loops and I've got my tails, but I don't like that you can see the pipe cleaner. That bothers me. So I'm gonna measure out a piece to cover that, just like we did with our first bow we made. And you can take any of these ribbons that you used. I'm just gonna use this top one. Gonna estimate how much I need to cover it, and then cut it. And then I roll it up. I do like one edge and then the other edge. And then you cover the pipe cleaner, pull it really tight. And then you crisscross your pipe cleaner again and twist it a couple times. We're gonna cut off some of this extra so it's not showing on the front. If you would prefer to use hot glue, or if you want to do both, that is also fine. And sometimes I do that. Now I'm going to cut off some of this excess we've got between the loops because I don't want it to show. Just fluffing it out, making it look nice. Almost done. Gotta do these red ones. And I've got this little bit of red poking out over here. I'm gonna cut that. And that's pretty much it. You can keep fluffing it and working with it if you aren't quite satisfied with how your loops look. If you want your tails longer or shorter, that is fine. But this is a really pretty bow that is not super hard to do. Best tips with bows is just keep practicing, keep trying, watch these videos over and over if you need to. I think everyone struggles with bows when they first start making them. Again, just if you want to buy some of these ribbons to use for your wreaths at home, I think all or most of this is on my Etsy shop at pinkmagnoliawreaths.etsy.com. I hope you had a lot of fun today. I know I did. And if you have any questions or comments, just leave them below. Thank you.